Hello, Stephanie. Say good morning. How are you? And good morning to our viewers. Welcome right to Man FM Radio 93.7 FM for yet another episode of Accounting and Business. Good morning, Stephanie, and how are you? All right. So I can't seem to get Stephanie. Stephanie, good morning. How are you? And welcome. I have to welcome to the program now, Stephanie. How are you, Stephanie? Our viewers, good morning, everybody. Please share this video and ask as many questions as you possibly can. So we dedicated this segment to you, our viewers, for you to ask us your questions. So take this a free consultation. All right. Most of you have been sending questions and you've been asking us questions. So today we decided to bring to you, you know, a free episode where you can consult. All right. So we want you to be able to ask us as many questions as you possibly can. So consider this a free gift to you from us where we allow you to ask questions to the experts to get expert opinions. So please share the video and let us know how you feel. Please let us
Talking
know
about
if the sound is okay, and that would be
talking
pretty
about
fantastic.
gifts, Mr. Dusambo, how are you?
Fantastic, Stephanie. Are you all right? For a moment, I was worried because we've been quiet for some time, and I was thinking maybe it's the usual problem with the network. Are you all right?
Not really. I'm fine. I was just trying to get us started with the mainstream as well. So, of course, if you are listening to us on the mainstream, it is Money FM Radio 93.7. And of course, we are also live on Facebook, Money FM Zambia 93.7, with Mr. Lusambo on the other side, who happens to be an investment and financial analyst. So, today it's a free session, a session where, of course, you get to ask us questions and we give you the answers. Pretty much last week, I think we had a question, Mr. Lusambo, from one of the listeners who was late, actually. So, some of the advice that we could give you, if you want to call us, don't hold on to the question. Just call us right away if you have a question on 077 so that you'll not be able to be late on the other side, just like people that call us after we are done.
Indeed, fantastic. This is a very good opportunity for many of our colleagues, many of our friends, to be able to ask us questions. And I want us to begin this by the questions that we received from last week. And also, those who have questions now take this opportunity to ask for expert advice regarding bonds, stocks, investment, debt management. We are taking all things finance today. So we are taking you head on any questions that you may have, be it bonds, stocks, unit trust, investment trust, debt management. You want to swim out of debt. What is it? Expanding your cash flows, protecting your cash flows. Every single question that you may have this morning, we are taking you head on, people. We are taking you head on. So we are going to of course bring in a few bits and pieces. I have a question I'd like to play for you. This question came in from last week. So I'll play two questions and then we'll handle these questions. You can even send this a voice note on WhatsApp to 0953 979798. We'll be able to play that voice note. So one of the questions we are addressing this morning came through last week. It came through last week. Of course, let me just play this question for you guys, and then we'll be able to we'll be able to we'll be able to
We'll be able to continue with you on the other side. Also, while he's actually trying to get us to hear the question, if you have a question in terms of bonds, investments, debt management, whatever it is about finances, just give us a call right now on 077 1616 290. Don't waste time in not explaining the situation. Just explain the situation as it is. Would not judge you and would not actually have to think otherwise. So if it's a situation, we're
yes.
more than ready to actually listen to it and we'll get your question just like that. Is it right, Mr. Lusambo?
Yes, the question is ready. All right. So the question that we have, the first one is coming from.
That's been happening currently, where there have been fraudulent businesses that
Please, you tell me if you can hear that, Stephanie. Let me just play it again, okay? Please tell me if you can hear the man speak. I'm playing from WhatsApp voice notes.
what has been happening currently, where there have been fraudulent businesses that pose to be genuine businesses online and promise to deliver to customers and end up scamming them. Now, for someone who wants to start a small business, for instance, they do not have the funds to pay for an actual rental place, and maybe they want to start their business online genuinely. How do you, how do they adapt to such an environment currently? Mm. Yes, that was my question. Thank you very much. We'll answer you, I think, as we begin our program next week again.
All right, fantastic. That was the question. Stefan, did you hear that? So this is a question.
Yes,
The
we did.
question says, how can you start a business, an online business? Because now there are lots of scammers. So how do you ensure you don't get scammed through these lots of people who are online promising to have genuine businesses, but they are not having a real business at the end of the day. So my advice is that before you can start an online business, it's also important that you assess your capabilities, because it's not everybody who's been equipped with entrepreneurial skills. That's just to be honest. So starting a business is not about having the good idea. And I always tell people this: people think you're supposed to have a good idea that's going to make you succeed. This great idea, people will love it. No, it has got nothing to do with an idea. Starting a successful business does not need an idea, people. Starting a successful business requires a skill set. And I say this: if you can be consistent with yourself, with your personal improvement, all the time you're improving on your skills. Today you do this skill, you improve it more tomorrow, after tomorrow, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Before you know it, you're going to become so good at a skill that one day it's going to pay you very well. It's not about the idea. Lots of people have beautiful ideas, but they lack the skills to implement those ideas. So to begin with, instead of you being swindled online, the first thing you can do to start a business, start by developing a skill. It is the skills that are going to pay you more. Every success people have studied in my life, Stefan, every rich people I know, every successful person I know, they did not become so successful because they had a good idea. No, they never became successful by having a beautiful idea. No, they became successful by mastering a specific skill, and they became great at it. And then they used that skill to enhance their business. So if you are trying to start a business, first of all, before you even think about ideas, think about skills that you may need to develop. It is about the skills. If you can learn a skill, you teach yourself how to do this. For example, I taught myself a certain skill that has benefited me so much. All right. So when you master a skill, there are people who are so good at putting those tiles. People are good at learning them more. People are good at doing all these kind of things. So if you can create a skill for yourself, build a skill and develop it, become good at it, that can help you to start a business. It's never about the idea. If you have an idea and then you have no skills to implement the idea, still will not succeed. So it's always beneficial to first develop the necessary skills that are going to help you succeed. I hope we've answered that one. There's another question, Stefan, that was coming from a lady on our WhatsApp. Guys, feel free to ask us your questions. There's a question from WhatsApp. It says, okay. Okay, let me just play this one.
Using project. Then they are quite planning together, but when time comes to say, let's start with are we painting the sitting room? Are we doing what LBC? You discuss over something that you're going to do, but then when time comes to execute or implement, the husband does what he thinks is okay, different from what you discussed. Not only once, not only twice. Will it be wrong for the wife to decide to say, okay, since you want to do your own thing? Don't you think it's time wasting for us to be sitting down and discuss, but in the end, you're doing something different from what we discussed? Then the woman decides to say, no, let me do my own thing. And you also do your own thing, because for me, it seems time wasting to sit and plan for something that is not coming up. So will it be wrong for a woman to decide to say, no, you do your own things as I do my own things?
All right, fantastic. That's a question from a lady. She says, usually they sit down with her husband to plan how things should be done. For example, they want to build a house. They will sit down normally, they plan together with the husband, but when time to execute comes, the husband changes his mind and he does his own things. So the wife is asking, would it be wrong for the wife to begin to develop a house on her own without involving her husband? And that's a very good and fair question, people. There are times where people sit down together, and because she's saying, she has a very good point, Stefan. She says she feels she's wasting time sitting down with her husband, planning, all right? They plan together and they decide how they're going to do this building project together. But when the money comes in, the husband always changes his mind. Would it be wrong for her to do it on her own? So here's the issue.
Now I'm thinking for me, Mr. Lusambo, who owns the house just before they even start? So whether she does it alone, if it's still in both their names, then probably it doesn't make a difference for the partner. But the thing is that she would have just used her own money to do something. So the first question we want to ask as well is, who owns the house? Whose name is on the papers before you even get to develop that house?
All right. So the question she's asking, the house is not yet built. What she's saying, what
Oh,
she's
okay.
saying, Stephanie, she's saying that they sit down usually with the husband, all right? They want to build a house, so they sit down, they plan together with the husband, and now when time for execution comes, all right, the husband will change his mind and do something else. Let me just replay this one for you again. Let me just replay it again so that you can get it right. She says this.
A building project.
Mm.
Then they are quite planning together, but when time comes to say, let's start with are we painting the sitting room? Are we doing what LBCD? You discuss over something that you're going to do, but then when time comes to execute or implement, the husband does what he thinks is okay, different from what you discussed. Not only once, not only twice. Will it be wrong for the wife to decide to say, okay, since you want to do your own thing, don't you think it's time wasting for us to be sitting down and discuss, but in the end, you're doing something different from what we discussed? Then the woman decides to say, no, let me do my own thing. And you also do your own thing. Because for me, it seems time wasting to sit and plan for something that is not coming up. So will it be wrong for a woman to decide to say, no, you do your own things as I do my own things?
Yes. That's the question, Stephanie. I hope now you've gotten it. So she's
Mhm.
asking, they have been planning with her husband together to build a house. Now, when the time to remove the money comes, the husband has gotten paid, the husband changes his mind, does something totally different from what they discussed. So she's asking, would it be wrong if she built a house on her own without involving her husband? Because she feels she's wasting so much time planning with her husband. When time for implementation comes, the husband changes his mind and does something else. Now, that's a very good question. And to respond to this question, I think what I can say, Stefan, is that first of all, you know, I want to commend you for taking the effort to plan with your husband because two people living together able to plan together, they are more likely to achieve their goals than those who don't plan together. That's just the bottom line. But again, the problem
Mm.
comes in where when you plan with your husband or your wife that you want to do this project, when the money comes in, one of you decides to change the rules at the middle of the game. That takes you 17 steps backwards because you're not progressing. All right.
Mm.
So the question she's asking is, would it be okay if she built the house on her own? And here's the issue.
Mm.
This is a very touchy issue because some marriages have been destroyed after the husband discovered the house is building a house on her own and was never involved. All right, that's the fact. But at the same time, you cannot wait for someone to mature before you can have a house. So when you have
Mm.
a plan with your husband who has no plan, who has no vision, who wants to always change the rules at the middle of the game, if you are capable, I see nothing really wrong with you trying to build a house without involving. Of course, tell him, okay, fine, since we agreed to build a house, to buy land, and the money has come you don't want, I'm gonna go ahead and buy this, do it on my own. All right. Let
Mm.
him know you're building something of your own because once he knows, obviously it's going to feel compelled to want to do the right thing. You're having kids together, those kids will need shelter at some point. You cannot be 65, 40 years old and you're still renting a house. It's not right. 50 years old, 40 years old, at that age, you should have your own place to live in if you have a good source of income. So I think there, our sister, what I can tell you is that If you have the financial capacity and the financial muscle to do it on your own, please do it on your own. All right. You cannot be wasting money and time year in, year out, planning with your husband who's not serious, who has no direction. So if you have the money to build your own house, build that house for the sake of your children. All right. Because if you keep enjoying the money every year, your children are growing. The more the kids grow, the more the expenses are going to grow for school, for college, for university. So it's going to be expensive for you to build a house when you have kids who are going to universities. So now that you have the opportunity to have a source of income and you're able to do it on your own, please go ahead and do it. But just make sure you tell him, you let him know, say, you know what, I've tried my best to plan with you, my husband. I do love you so much, but I just feel like this project is not for you. And as such, I'm going to do it on my own. It's gonna be upset, it's gonna feel offended, but it's all right. When you build a house, your children will always thank you for that. A firm decision, firm stance are going to take. What's your take, Stephanie, on that?
For me, I think I actually totally agree with you when you talk about the fact that there's need for openness. If you're going to take a huge step in trying to build a house on your own, then it should be an open decision. Also, get to reason with your partner at that point, because most of the times, when you plan, you're anticipating for something. So get to reason with your partner as well. Why are they thinking in those lines, or why have they diverted? If you understand why maybe they've diverted at that point, then obviously you'll be able to plan together. But if it's not for a specific purpose that of course is very tangible at the end of the day, then I think there's need for you to go ahead and build on your own.
Fantastic. I think that I also agree, Stefan. That's okay. Let me just get my pen so that I can write some of these things down. I've seen a very nice
Definitely.
question down here.
As Mr. Lusambo gets his pen, let's
So that
get
we
to hear
can
your
write
views
something
on
on the
that
board.
particular question.
All right.
Yes.
So another question we have is, what is
So
your
as
take
we're
on
writing
investing in
something
real
on the
estate?
board, we have someone who's answered the question.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I was actually going to ask people to maybe come through. So that's those are our thoughts on that question from that woman, and also the first question. So that you could also come through and give your opinion, especially on two people that have sat together to plan. I must say it happens every day in various households. So of course, if you have a different opinion, do call us on 077 or probably you agreed with us. On the other side, we definitely do have. Another question by Wix Muluba. But just before we get to that question, Mr. Lusambe, you were saying something.
Yes. So what I was saying, there's a question here again from Wix. Wix says, "What's your take on investing in REITs versus rental properties?" Okay, that's a very good question, and I want to tackle this question in this way. Let me just open up a Word document, okay? Because maybe it's gonna help us a bit. So let me open up an Excel document. I would have loved to open up a Word document, but okay, let me try and see if I can open up a Word document so that we can look at it from this perspective, because that's a very good question. I want to do a few drawings. I love to draw. Okay, guys, I'm terrible at drawings, but I still love them anyway. Okay, so I'm so terrible at drawing, but I love them anyway. So I want to share this drawing, Stefan, here, so that our friends can see. I want to answer that question by means of this, by means of this drawing. Let me just bring this one here. There's a window. Okay, great. So this is a question. I think it's a very important question about REITs. Can you see my board, Stephanie?
Not just yet. Okay.
All
Yes,
right.
I'm
You
able
can see my
to.
board? Great. Okay. So now, Wix has asked a very important question. That's why I'm bringing on my board, people, because I want to make sure that we answer it in a better way. So Wix is asking this question. It says, "What's your take on investing in REITs versus rental properties?" All right. Okay. It's one on the same thing, but there's a slight difference. And I want to explain the difference in this way. Okay. If you talk about REITs, all right, for those of you who do not know what REITs are, let me just say this. REITs, this is real estate investment trusts. All right, that's REITs, real estate investment trust. Now, the beauty about investing in real estate investment trust is that number one, all right, number one, these people bear the risk. They bear the risk. instead of you. What happens usually when you have the money, you want to go and invest in real estate. You are bearing the entire risk on your own. So by investing in a real estate, investment trust, it helps you to reduce the risk from yourself, because here you see a group of people coming together, they put monies together, and then they begin to acquire properties together. All right, that diversifies the risk of you using your your own capital for everything, because now you're going to have maybe 20 people. All right, 20 people may come together here, depending on the policy and their constitution. They may come together, they put the monies together, and then they begin to buy property. So what these guys do each month, like the one I know, they contribute to 5 each per month. All right. So if and there are 30 people actually in the one I know. There are about 30, let me just use the actual number. There are 30 people. So now what happens with these people? Each one contributes 2,500 kwacha, and there are 30. So what happens? 30, if you do 30 times 2,500, you're going to see they make about 75,000 every month. So every month, these guys make about 75,000. All right. And what they do, these people target places where there are schools. They target locations where there are schools, and they build boarding houses. So what they do, they use the money to buy land. Once they buy maybe a nice piece of land, then what do? They begin to build houses, boarding houses. They put them on rent. So it has grown. Their cooperative has really grown. So this one helps you to own property by spending a small amount of money. Because if you are 30, 5 every month, and if you do this one by 12 months, you're going to set. If you multiply that one by 12, it's going to give you about 900,000. That's a very good amount of money you're going to raise in 1 year. Right now, that's a good amount of money. You can build a nice boarding house, because most of the boarding houses are low-cost houses. So that gives you a good start. And if you give yourself 2 years of investing 2.5 every month for 2 years, you're going to have about 1.8 million in 2 years' time, which can give you a very good startup to have your own properties. Now that reduces the burden from you. Now, what these guys do? Once they build the houses, when the house begins to make, they begin to collect rentals, because what they do, the ones I know, each room for the house contains about uh, 4 bed spaces. There's a bunker bed somewhere here, and then there's a bunker bed somewhere there. So what happens? There's somebody down, and then there's somebody. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Each room has got 4 people. They have got this side bunker bed. So people pay 750 per bed space in some locations, and in other locations people pay 1,000. All right. So imagine I'm gonna go with 750. So 750 per bed space, and then you have how many people here? You have 4 people. So you do 750 times 4. All right. What that does, it gives you 3,000 for 1 room every month. So you get about 3,000 for 1 room. Now these guys, if the house you are building contains, let's say, 4 bedrooms, you're gonna multiply that one by 4. That means you're going to be having, if you have 3,000 per room, all right, and then you have 4 bedrooms, that's about 12,000 per house. Now, the beauty about these boarding houses, most of these ones they are building are containing about 6, bedrooms, and each bed space is costing about 1,000. So meaning that if you have 4 people in 1 room, that's 4,000. 4,000 times 4, that's every month per house, you're getting about 16,000. That's a very good amount of money. So these guys are able to grow quickly using the real estate, investment trust. That's an easy way to become a shareholder and own properties. So it has helped a lot of people to own properties. That's one way. All right. So I feel this method is good for people who don't have enough capital to do it on their own. But also it's good for people who are still trying to learn how to invest in real estate, because now you are going to learn a lot of things from other expertise, other people. You won't use your entire money. You'll be simply contributing a small portion of your money to this trust. That's good for you. Now, there's another way. The man talks about rental properties. It's one and the same thing. But the other way I want to talk about is, now, what if you are doing it on your own? Now, here's the downside and the good thing about doing it on your own. Here, it may take you longer before you can see the benefits. It takes you long, all right, to benefit. Because imagine you are 30 and you build one house. Each house is giving you 16,000. So how do you share 16,000 if you are 30? All right, you divide that one by 30. It's about 533 every month. Okay, that's a bit small. So you may not really see the benefit today, but if you do it for 5 years, then you're going to see how just fantastic it is. Because what these guys do, they said in the first 5 years, they will not get anything from these properties. What they are doing, they just, when they build a house, they put on rent, students pay, they get the money, they reinvest. That's what they are doing. They want to start getting dividends after 5 years. Now that's a plan, because in 5 years' time, these houses will be worth more, right? And by then, the rentals plus the monthly contributions would have been more than they are doing now. So they are going to own more properties in the next 5 years. That's a good plan for you. You need to be patient if you're going to go the real estate investment trust way. It's not for people who are in a hurry to make money. It's for people who have a stable source of income, and then they are seeking to expand their investment portfolios in the next 5 years. That's a good route to use. The other way is where Mr. Wick talks about rental properties. Now, here's the issue. There's a smart guy and there's a genius, okay? Here's what a smart guy does. A smart guy owns, they say a smart guy has 1 million kwacha, all right? A smart guy has 1 million kwacha that he has gotten maybe from his retirement, whatever it is. So what does he do? To build just a decent house in this country, it can cost you about 500,000 in a good location. That's land inclusive. So in 1 million, this guy can build 2 houses, right? 500,000, 500,000 each. So this guy can own, say he's a smart guy. He can own 2 houses. That's a smart guy, okay? He can own 2 houses. Smart guy. And the money is done. Then he puts this house on rent, all right? He begins to get maybe from each house, maybe 3-5 per month, all right? So maybe he's getting about 7,000 every month. It will take many years for you to get to 1 million. To get to 1 million, it will take you time because you have 2 houses. Maybe you're putting them at 3,500 each or 4,000 or whatever it is. It will take you time. That's a smart guy. He's gotten his retirement. He's built 2 houses and is getting 7,000 every month. Okay, that's a good move. But here's what a genius would do when it comes to rental properties. A genius understands this. He knows the power of debt. What a genius would do, because most banks, what they do, they accept a down payment, all right? A down payment. If you want financial advice on this one, which is relevant to you, please book an appointment on our page. I'll be happy to bring it to you and help you at a personal level. They accept a down payment of 30%, all right? Most banks, all right? And then others accept about 25%, all right? Depending on which insurance you decide to use to get a down payment. So I can help you navigate through the available institutions to help you get a better deal. So now, if you have, say, 1 million kwacha from your retirement or from your deal, whatever it is that you did to get that 1 million kwacha, you can go to the bank and make some deposits of 20. You make deposits. Some people, they do 25%. Some, let me just say, it's between 20 to 30%, depending on the bank that you decide to use or the financier you decide to use. So I'm going to go with the lowest interest rate. I'm going to go with 20%. So 20% means, this is what a genius would do. You're going to make a deposit, all right? You're going to deposit to the bank, all right? You're going to deposit 20%. Now, 20% means if you give the bank 20%, they are going to build you a house. 20% they build you a house. 20% they build you a house. Now, each house is worth how much? 500,000. So let's do this. You have 20% on this house, okay? They build for you 1. Another 20%, they build for you 2. Another 20%, they build for you 3. Another 20%, they build for you 4. 20%, they build for you 5. So a genius would build 5 houses in 1 million. Right? Now, this guy owes the bank money, okay? Because the bank has topped him up 80%. He has paid 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. That means the bank is going to build houses worth 500,000 kwacha each, 500,000, 500,000, 500,000, and 500,000 for this guy. So the bank has pumped in about how much? They are pumped in all this money. Now, because land and houses appreciate as time passes by, in the next 5 to 10 years, all right, the value of these houses would have doubled. So each house now is not going to be worth 500,000. Each house is going to be worth about 1 million kwacha. All right? That means now this guy can now go back to the bank again and tell the bank, dear bank, I've got 5 houses. Each house is worth 1 million. What I need you to give me loans to build more houses, the banks will be more than happy to give this guy a loan because this guy has got cash flow. What does that mean? It means he has got rentals coming out of these houses. So he's using rentals, all right, to pay the bank the money he owes the bank. So in short, the tenants are the ones paying this guy to own houses. He's not using his money anymore. It is now the tenants helping this guy to become a landlord. So every time they pay rentals, he didn't have to go and detach his bank account or anything like that. He simply gets all the rentals, channels them to the bank. Channels them to. As time passes by, rentals become more than the interest is paying the bank, and it begins to make more money while making more houses. So you can now go back to the bank and ask the bank, give me another loan, build me more 10 houses. The banks will be happy to go and build this guy 10 houses. All right. So in the space of 10 years, this guy can own over 10 houses, and he can use the rentals and to pay back the bank's interest and the principals. So a genius may own more houses using debt. A smart guy may own more houses using his personal money. So when you use your personal money, it takes you long to grow. So see, this guy used his personal money. In 10 years' time, each house will be worth 1 million. So he's worth 2 million kwacha. All right? But this guy in 10 years' time is going to have over 10 houses, 10 million kwacha. So you can see how people become millionaires by using debt. All right. So if you need more advice on this one, I'll be more than happy to come through and help you see how this can be navigated. So that's a very good question, Mr. Wilkes. And Stefan, I hope we have answered. So when it comes to rental properties, it's very important to understand that if you do it on your own to build a house to put on rent, you are taking yourself 17 steps backwards than a guy who is using the bank, the guy who is using debt, because it's not your money. The tenants are the ones helping you to own houses. All right. All you've done, you've put 20% of your money, and then the banks give you the difference. They build houses for you. Then what happens? Tenants begin to pay you money for owning houses. Then you begin to have own more houses as you grow. So if you are patient enough and you're a genius, you can come through for consultation. I'll be more than happy to help you with this one. Go to our Facebook page, Shadwick Chartered Accountant. There's a portion for book appointment. I'll be happy to meet up with you and help you structure how you can own houses using debt, and you never have to worry about using your own money to pay the bank. That's genius, all right? That's genius, people. So thank you for that question. Do you have another question, Stephanie? Stephanie, what do you think? How have we answered Mr. Wick's question? What do you think, Stefan? People, tell me
I
what you
must say,
think
I
we've
love
answered.
I must say, I love the illustration. I think it explains so much. If it were me again, I think I would be thinking of running into a rental property. Well, amazing. So Precious says as well, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're your own boss, but also you could do both if you can. Looks like pretty much good work to get into, especially on the business side. Talking about which, we are picking questions. Of course, that was a question by weeks. You can call us on 077 Definitely call us now. We're tuned in also on Facebook 93.7. Write a comment if you can, as well as a question. Of course, the weeks now comes back and says, at what point does one start to build systems in a small business or company? Just before we get to respond to Weeks, he's actually taking advantage of the ask and answer question session rather. So you too could actually get to ask that question on the other side. The number is 077 We want to hear from you, who's definitely coming through to call. Remember, you can get to ask us any question in relation to debt, finances, and we are more than happy to answer those questions right there. So of course, Wix has definitely a very good explanation there. Also, it has benefited the other people that are definitely tuned in. You can also send us text messages on WhatsApp. Mr. Lusambo, what's the number again?
The number is 0953 You can send a message to that number on WhatsApp, a voice note. We'll be happy to play your voice note like others have done. So 0953 That's the number for voice notes. We'll be happy to respond. Now, there's another nice comment here which says, is it possible to invest in higher returns and higher risk vehicle assets like peer-to-peer lending platforms, and of course diversifying the profits returns into less risk vehicle assets such as bonds? Okay, I like that the part for bonds. Now I want to make this comment on bonds, people. Yes, and the peer-to-peer lending. There are lots of peer-to-peer lending platforms that you can utilize to, to navigate through and just see how things can work for you. Now, I want to explain this one in this way, people. Okay, and I want to be very honest, Stephanie. I want to be as honest as I possibly can because more often than not, Stephanie, a lot of people have ended up losing out, all right, losing out on multiplying their money because they rush to things such as here. There are things I call. I'm gonna do this. I'm not so good at drawing, Stefan. Stefan, would you please just take me through the lessons of how to become a better artist? I think I'm terrible. Look at that. So I'm gonna do
The
this.
blind
Okay.
leading the blind. Yeah.
I'm terrible, Stefan. So I have this thing, I have this thing I like to work with usually. I call this one, you know, um, it's something I use for my clients usually to just tell them to see at what point do you invest in bonds. So we have bonds here, right? This is the mistake most people make, Stefan. I just want to be honest with you, people, okay? Because some of you, when you hear the word bonds, you get excited. So we have stocks, we have bonds, right? And then we have real estate, all right? Then we have, of course, all these other investment vehicles, such as unit trusts. We have investment trusts and stuff like that. Now, a lot of people, Stefan, like he's asking me, you use peer-to-peer lending for you to go and invest in bonds. Let me just say this, people, okay? Investment in bonds is not for everyone. Somebody write that one somewhere. Okay, I know some people will not be happy with this, but I have to be honest with you. Let me tell you how people embrace poverty. Okay, let me tell you how people embrace poverty. Okay, if you put 1,000 kwacha to them, all right, this is an assumption I'm making, in bonds, after 1 year, you would have about 1,172 roughly. Okay, that's not the exact amount, it's an estimate. The value you're going to get in 1 year's time is less than 200 kwacha. Okay, now I want you to understand this. Okay, it takes you over a year to grow your 1,000 to 1,100. If you put that 1,000 in bonds today, it takes you over 1 year, all right, to grow that money. Do you know why? Because bonds are risk-free investments. There's no risk-free. What that means, it means no, if you get the money, if you have a coin, those of you who've got notes in your pockets, any money, get that note. Is it a 100 kwacha note or 50 kwacha note, whatever it is? You're going to see there's a statement that says, I promise to pay the bearer on demand. All right. When you buy bonds, the government is promising you they're going to pay you back on demand. When that money is not that particular day, they'll give you back your money. All right. The government will pay, they'll never disappoint you. That is why if you invest in government bonds, you are 17 times more likely to be poor. Let me repeat that. You are 17 times more likely to be poor if you get your money and put in government bonds. Now, this does not apply to everyone. It applies to somebody who is struggling. Because if you are struggling, what you must work on, first of all, you must work on the lower pyramid. The lower part here, this is where I call where you have your COV. All right. Yeah, you begin to build your incomes. You begin to do some trading services. You begin to do some skills improvement and monetization. So first of all, I advise people before you can think about bonds. First of all, think about how you can multiply your monies here using your skills. All right. Think about how you can multiply your monies using your skills. All right. If you become a COV, you involve in trading, you have some skills, you develop some business somewhere. All right. The idea is to have constant cash flow. All right. If you can have constant cash flows now, you're going to have enough cash flows that now, what do you need to do? Now you need to diversify your portfolios, need now to grow. So now how do you grow? You now begin to channel some money into stocks because, guys, stocks are very volatile. They are very risky. You can't be poor and start investing in stocks because somebody told you Warren Buffett got rich investing in stocks. Guys, that was in 1940 something there, before people knew about the stocks. Now the interest rates in the stock market is quite disappointing. It's just like on bonds. The rates you get are very, very low if you have no money. It benefits somebody who has a lot of money, not you who's struggling. Let me just be honest with you. If you are poor, you are struggling, you have no money, then you begin to put in bonds, you're going to remain more poor. I want to be honest with you people, okay? Because if we sugarcoat you, you're going to make this mistake. People think if you put money in bonds, then you're an investor. You know, I have bonds. You put your
Yeah.
1,000 in bonds, and after 12 months, you have less than 200 kwacha on top of that 1,000 kwacha. Tell me if that's not a mind of poverty. Tell me. Tell me. You get your 5,000 today, you put in bonds. It stays for 1 year. You make less than 500 kwacha. And then you say, I have bonds. You are wasting money. Do you know why? Because there's inflation which is going up, which is wiping out that interest. There's the consumer price index. Goods and services are increasing every single day. And then you put your small 5,000 in bonds. What is wrong with you, people of God? Children of God, why? Why would you just decide to be poor like that? Why? Because somebody motivated you that go and put money in stocks are going to make money. No, it's not true. You put money in stock when you have cash flow. You put money in bonds when you have cash flow. You go to real estate, your investment trust and unit trust, investment trust, when you have cash flow, money coming in from other sources, right? Profits, then you begin to channel them to these other ventures because you want to diversify your portfolios. Not when you're trying to build a life. You get your small money which you could have used to build a business to go and put in bonds. People of God, why? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That is poverty. Okay? So I'm being honest with you. All right? Bonds are excellent. Stocks are excellent. Actually, 100% of billionaires are those who invest in private equity. 95% of millionaires, of course, they come from, these things such as bonds, stuff like that. But 100% of millionaires they invest in private equity. Billionaires they invest in private equity. So when you have enough money, you can diversify. Because if you put money in your stocks, your 5,000, then the company goes into liquidation, or maybe the stock prices goes down. You are losing money every day. Your small 5,000 kwacha. Why don't you use this one to acquire a new skill? If you have a 5,000 kwacha, pay someone to teach you a new skill. Come to our offices, we help you build a skill, or help you structure your small business. Once your small business begins to grow, you can now begin to invest in other items. When you begin to have a constant cash flow, then you can think about stocks, bonds, real estate, because these are not meant for immediate consumption. These take time to grow. They take years before you can see the benefits. Unless you're a millionaire, you can be seeing benefits every cycle. There's a bond auction, because you're putting millions that you don't have planned for. They're going to multiply quickly. But if you have small money, then you go and put in bonds or stocks. Why? Why are you choosing poverty every day? Why? You say you want to be financially stable, but you keep choosing poverty. This is the thing. You cannot be wealth, you cannot be successful if you always keep doing decisions of people who are poor. Poverty mentality decisions. Putting money in bonds is the highway to poverty. Putting money in stocks, highway to poverty. Putting money in real estate, unit trust, this is highway to poverty for someone who is struggling. I always stand my grounds and I say, put money into these things at the point you have constant cash flows, because these won't pay you today. They won't pay you tomorrow. They take time before you can see the benefits. Unless you're a millionaire, you have a lot of monies, then you can put in this one and every cycle begin to see benefits. But if you are starting a life, people, why would you do this to yourself? Why? You never become rich by putting money in and putting bonds. No way. If somebody lied to you, tell them that they lied. Somebody told you become a millionaire by putting money in stocks, they lied. They tell about Warren Buffett, really, people, in the 21st century. Warren Buffett in 2023, really, people? Really? Did you know what the interest rates were back then? Did you know? And do you see how the interest rates are today? Do you know that? So stop being motivated by all these stories. Begin to learn new things that are relevant to today. All right. I have, guys, let me say this. I invest in stocks as well, but I don't put my hard-earned money, things the one I've worked for so hard and I'm struggling. No, I put my passive income in stocks. The money I don't really need to use today. The money I don't need tomorrow. This is because I need to take time for my shares to have a significant impact. I put money in bonds. I don't put money which like I'm suffering, then I go, no. I have a business that gives me money and I have passive income that I don't have to stress about. It comes in and says, okay, fine, I'm going to put a 5,000 there because I don't need it. But you need it. If you need it, don't put it there. It will not grow. Grow your business, grow your skills, improve your marketing skills, learn a new skill, monetize your skills and stuff like that. Then you begin to have cash flows. you can think about those. Don't think about this before you work on yourself. You have a stable cash source of income. Don't. That's poverty. I hope we have answered, Stephanie. Yeah, I hope we have answered.
Definitely.
And
At
people,
this point,
yeah,
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 at this point, I think let's pick three calls on
yeah.
077 So time does not seem to be our best ally. If we don't have those three calls, we definitely do go back to Facebook and see who's actually asking questions. So get your calls on 077 your chance to ask a question in terms of debt, money, finances generally. That's definitely your time to actually get to call 077 You could be listening from Facebook. We definitely have our number on the screen, so get to call us and obviously ask your question on the mainstream. Well, I see people getting to call each other. Of course, I see that our
Yes.
topic today is of value. Stocks, really, this is a topic that people misunderstand a lot. And unless there are any questions, you do know what to do. Of course, get to ask them at your designated time by getting to follow Mr. Lusambo on the other side. Well, Mr. Lusambo, do we have any other question?
Yes, so people, if you have any question, all right, we'll be happy to respond. You're battling with debt, you have a question you want to ask us, I'll be more than happy, of course, respond. I thought we should address the issue with bonds and real estate and stocks because people keep working so hard on to go and borrow money. If you are struggling, you put money in bonds.
Exactly.
You are not different from that guy in the Bible who borrowed money. There's no difference. You're just like that guy who borrowed money. All right. Now there's a question here, Stephanie, about land. Okay. Let me just read this one. It's coming from the WhatsApp. It says, um, is it okay? Is it okay to use my gratuity to buy land to build a house so that I can stop paying rent? Is it okay to use my gratuity to buy land and build a house so that I can stop paying rent? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it depends. Like I said, there's nothing wrong if you have money that you can use to build yourself a house. Okay. Now, I want to give an example again. I want to be very honest here, Stephanie. And I think today, guys, will just shoot you. Okay, we'll just shoot you today. We'll just be honest with you so that you don't make terrible financial decisions. So here's what this one says. He has a gratuity here. Okay. Now let me show you again how people become poor by owning houses. When you have a house, it does not mean your life will change. Okay. We have been sold this idea of owning houses, owning cars. People, let me say this, Stefan. And I say this all the time in my mentorship sessions to my clients. And I tell them, can we prioritize access over ownership? All right. Somebody write it in the comments. Say access over ownership. People, somebody do that. Access over ownership. Now, Stefan, we have some bad feedback from your end. Let me mute.
Definitely, we are.
Okay, let me mute Stephanie. Okay, I've muted Stephanie. So, guys, somebody give me a comment. Say access over ownership, and please share this video. Please, people, share this video. Tag somebody. Let me make a comment here on using your gratuity to buy land. Okay. Now, people say land appreciates. All right. People say land appreciates. A lot of people say, you know what? I'm gonna buy land because land appreciates. Okay, good. Land appreciates not for you. Notice here. If you get your gratuity, all right? If you get your gratuity, right? If you get your gratuity and then you buy land, you buy land, you build a house, all right? You build a house where you want to be staying. Of course, it's going to save you some money from rentals, okay? And then what happens? What happens? You go back to being broke. You have a house and broke. There are people who have houses, they've built a house for themselves and they are broke. They don't eat well. They can't send their kids to nice schools. They look like they're about to die, but they have a nice house. Do you know why? Because there was nobody to advise them. They got their gratuity, they bought land, they built a house, and now they're living in a house where they are not happy. So I always say, prioritize access over ownership. An example is this. If I have 100,000 kwacha today, all right, why should I go and buy a car? I can access a car anytime. I can do Yango. I can do Ulendo. Those things are available. Now they're even cheaper than using my car. Actually, I find using Yango and Ulendo cheaper than using my car. Because if I'm going to maybe Chongwe, I'm going to 6 miles, I spend a small amount of money compared to what I could have spent using my own car. So access over ownership saves you money. If you have 500,000 kwacha only, all right, and this is the only money you have, you get it to go and build yourself a house. That's the mentality of poverty. There's no difference between you and the guy who borrowed money in the Bible, all right? Because this house will need maintenance, electricity, water bills, land rates, and all those kind of costs. You are broke. So I have a different opinion. And guys, you can debate all you like, okay? It's okay. We can agree to disagree. But this is my opinion. I always tell people, if you have a small amount of money, maybe 50,000, then you go and buy land. All right. Don't do that to yourself. That's a mentality of poverty. Why don't you sit down with a financial advisor? If you have this gratuity of 100,000, come sit down and ask questions. Okay, I have this money. All right. I'm not you don't have to be a business. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to have a business. No. You can be at home sleeping, but you have a business is running and paying you well because you have an advisor advising you where to put your money. Be willing to pay a small amount to an advisor to advise, okay, you have this 400,000 kwacha. How do you multiply it? For now, you have access to a house. You are paying rent somewhere. It's okay. Access over ownership. You only move from access to ownership when you are able to afford, when you have enough stable source of income. Because even if land appreciates, if you build a house you're living in, it won't benefit you because it's a house you're living in, you won't sell it. Land benefits somebody who buys it for the purpose of reselling it again. That's what you say. Land appreciates not for you who's building a house to live in, but for somebody who's buying it to come and resell. Then it appreciates because if you build a house you are living in and land appreciates, so what? It never benefits you in any way. You will still be spending more on expenses, painting, renovations and maintenance, stuff like that. Run this electricity bills, water bills. You still be spending those monies even if land appreciates. It then benefits you. Get that on your mind, people. Land appreciates means it benefits somebody who's buying it for the purpose of reselling it or building rental properties or whatever it is, because it's going to be bringing capital appreciation in their bank account, not you who's building a house to live in. So you've buried your 500,000 kwacha in the sand and you wonder why you are still poor. No, you are still poor because you missed out on a golden opportunity to change your life, to get this 500,000 kwacha, invest in real business that can multiply, and then you use cash flows, all right, to begin to build your house to live in while you have a running business. So that even if you own a house now, you're no longer stressed. You can pay your bills, you can send your kids to school, you can eat well. You don't have to look like you're about to die, but you own a nice house. No, so you can take time. Just because you are renting does not mean you are suffering. No. There are lots of people who are having their own houses and they are extremely poor. They are suffering. They can't enjoy that house because they made a terrible decision. So prioritize access over ownership. If you can access the house for now, it's okay. Pay rent, build a business, establish some cash flows. Then you can use your cash flows to build a house. That, my friend, is what a genius does. Okay. A smart person will get their gratuity, build a house, they start living there. A genius will use their gratuity to build a business that is going to grow, multiply the money, and use that money to build a house while the business is running and making more money. That's genius, people. Okay, that's my opinion. If you want more, please feel free to come and book an appointment. Go to my Facebook page, Shadrick Chartered Accountant. There's a book feature. You're going to book an appointment there. We can be able to sit down with you and help you. Okay, stop making poor decisions if you want to become financially stable. All right, please, people, this is not the time to waste money unnecessarily. Come through, we help you. Feel free to spend money on financial advisors who have experience in the system. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I don't know what to think about that, but possibly that's my thought on that issue. Stephanie is on the mute. Okay, Stephanie, are you there? All right, guys, thank you very much. I've lost Stephanie. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining us. I wish we could continue with the time, but unfortunately, we've run out of time. Our program ends at 12, and we are 12:02. Joshua, thank you very much. Vincent, thank you. We are going to be able to respond those questions in our next episode. Join me at 14 hours. I'll be having another radio program. I'll post on my page for you to know. Thank you, guys. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic day, and bye bye.